welcome back to End Times Prophecy News Update. This is Carrie Geren Scoggins, discussing the issue of Trump backing out of repealing NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement, which was written and passed by the Clinton administration back during the 1990s. As America saw business after business leaving America, setting up shop in Mexico, using the Mexican worker as slave labor, bringing their products back across the border, tariff-free, and selling them at high prices here in the United States, as the Democrats planned to escape paying out high union wages, getting around wage and labor laws, and coming back into the United States without having to pay a tariff. Many businesses praised Mexico, for they were getting around EPA laws, no longer having the Environmental Protection Agency to answer to for mercury spills, dumping of paint and toxic materials. This was the Democratic Party's answer. Globalism, and it furthered to fail our economy. The North American Free Trade Agreement was the Clintons and the Democratic Party's push for globalism. And though it may have taken years for businesses to leave the United States and move to Mexico, damaging the United States economy, over the course of years, indeed, this did transpire. Every state was affected, every town, due to job loss. Bill Clinton stated, quote, "We don't need these low-tech jobs." Those low-tech jobs put food on American families' tables. And when they were gone, most were left jobless. The Democratic Party's answer at that time was service industry jobs. And we've seen when the average worker sees employment at Walmart or McDonald's as the main job for the breadwinner of their household, that we've spiraled down financially as a nation. This being the same political party that does not mind taxing you at an extremely high rate. So what little money you do make will have a huge portion given to the government to squander. Trump had stated that he was going to repeal NAFTA. This was that campaign promise. But after being elected, caved to pressure from the Democratic Party. The ignorant spoke up and stated that due to migrant workers, we should not undo the North American Free Trade Agreement. Why did Trump not look for further alternatives rather than just scrap the idea of undoing the North American Free Trade Agreement? Why not have the tariff put on a sliding scale? Those making under $200,000 a year paying no tariff. But the large corporations and big businesses, those such as the car manufacturers, the cigarette companies, and those that profiteered off the North American Free Trade Agreement and NAFTA, using the Democratic Party, again, to get around wage laws, labor laws, union high pay wages, the EPA standards, rules and regulations, going down to exploit the Mexican worker. in and of itself, is a prime example of racism in the Democratic Party, where most liberals want to point their finger at the conservatives and call them racist. I would consider the North American Free Trade Agreement one of the most racist pieces of legislation as of yet. Exploiting the Mexican worker for pennies a day. Slave wage workers. So when one hears negative stereotypes of the Republican Party, that they're racist bigots, bring up the Democrats' NAFTA, North American Free Trade Agreement, pandering to big business and helping them go across the border and treat racial minorities as slave labor. Again, getting around the EPA laws that they claim that they support the most. We saw Al Gore claiming that he was the environmentalist. Yet he helped write NAFTA. He knew those large corporations would go to Mexico and begin dumping toxic waste unanswerable to any environmental protection agency. No standards required. Write your legislators, congressmen, and indeed the White House. Ask them again to put NAFTA up for debate. This time with the real intent to repeal it, even if they have to put the tariff on a sliding scale. No one wants to tax migrant workers. But that's the extreme minority of whom is benefiting from NAFTA. Again, taxation on tariffs on large corporations such as the cigarette companies, the car companies, and those that have made billions profiteering off of the North American Free Trade Agreement and off the backs of the Mexican worker. This has been another End Times Prophecy News Update. Carrie Geren Scoggins, bringing you more food for thought. Thank you for listening.